Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. So have a look at the links that I have for you. Download your starter guide so you can explore and master this amazing deck. Here we are in a monthly reading. We are doing the September forecast today, and as usual, we have the Astro Clock cards for the month, and we're going to draw an additional portrait on top of them to have more details about the month. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries. We've got your September cards from your Astro Clock. These are the Scythe, Book, and Anchor. Now, this is a very clear combination for finding something out and really digging until you achieve the right knowledge and reach the right conclusion. And it does seem to suggest a bit of force. So you really need to be strong and insistent in order to get to the bottom of something. The cards can also suggest that there is some news or finally a revelation that perhaps you had been waiting for, and this gives you the answer that you need. The anchor is quite strong. It really helps you create a sense of foundation, and it's very good at achieving a conclusion. And as you can see here, the Scythe and Book really breaks open the book, which is a card of knowledge and sometimes mysteries. So this can apply in different contexts. We're going to see from the portrait cards if we get more for the context, but they can apply in a variety of circumstances. So let's put them aside and let's draw your portrait and see what is in store for you this month. Okay, Aries, here is your portrait, and we see the book in common to both, and we also have the letter, which is really good for news and communication, along with the man, which tells us that this breakthrough here has to do with some kind of communication or contact with a person. We have the ring in the middle. This is lovely for a variety of possibilities. It's great for relationships, especially in view of the other cards. And it's great for commitments and agreements. And I really think you're going to come to an agreement, as we saw with the anchor. Now, we do have the mouse in the cards. The mouse can be a little bit challenging. It causes some doubts or some little bumps here and there, but it's not dramatic, and it sounds like you're still going to be able to move forward. The key is that you have answers and you have an agreement. The ship is your cover card. It is very much a card of travel, generally. But more specific or more commonly, it has to do with ventures and pursuing goals and objectives. And with the ring here, this has to do with your commitments and what you're involved with. At the same time, though, Aries, the mouse can feel like it's getting a bit of a drag, or perhaps you're tired from this, or it's demanding. So it can be some kind of a stressful commitment. But the rider with the ring and letter is happier, it's more joyous, and it has more enthusiasm and momentum. And certainly with the ring and letter, we see that there is a positive conclusion and a positive commitment. This is often a combination for a contract or an agreement. And the rider is definitely a card that helps move things forward, like the ship. So if you've been having trouble to get this off the ground, which is very possible in view of the Astro Clock cards, Aries, then we see here that there is a firm conclusion, a firm agreement. So that is very positive. The ship with the heart and letter is great for pursuing contact and communications with probably this person or maybe a few people. There is good news, there are positive exchanges, and the ship, Aries, encourages you to have initiative and to reach out. The man with the ring and dog is great for a relationship. It's clear that a connection is sealed, and the ring and dog can also refer to a relationship or a love relationship that grows out of a friendship. So if this is a romantic situation for you, Aries, it can work out pretty well. Now, the rider, book, and mouse is a little bit challenging because we have both the mouse and book together, and this typically points to misinformation, a lack of information, or some gaps. And it seems to me that this is definitely what you want to close off. So any knowledge gaps, any question marks, any doubts, you need to close them off. And it's clear, Aries, that the focus of this is this month. The ship with the man and rider is great for progress with this person. It can mean travel. Perhaps you travel to meet with this person, or they travel, or there is some kind of activity or movement. The heart with the ring and book is also lovely. So like the ring and letter, the ring and book also suggest an agreement and a contract. And the heart can have a romantic undertone, but it can also suggest an agreement or a commitment that makes you happy. The letter with the dog and mouse is sort of similar to this connection here, but we have the mouse, which causes a bit of an issue, perhaps some doubts or some question marks around the agreements or the contact with this person. Again, the mouse is really not that big of a deal, especially Aries, if you take the trouble to focus on these details from the get-go, because if you leave the mouse unchecked, it can grow into something bigger and more dramatic. So definitely focus on the details while things are small and at the beginning, and that way you have everything above board. And that is definitely the goal. So don't let these issues get in the way of what is looking like a really good prospect for a connection, for a project or a commitment. Just work out the details right now so that this path and this opportunity can unfold. So really nice cards, Aries. Lots of potential here. Very good with relationship despite a few bumps. So focus on these and get it off the ground. And also, Aries, the cards can apply in different contexts. The relationship context is quite clear. So this is a relationship that has quite a lot of prospects and potential, despite a few bumps. And it is also great for other situations like an agreement, a contract, or some kind of collaboration. So really good with relationships, at least a lot of potential. So just take the trouble to iron out the details so that everything is above board. Let me know how you like these ideas, Aries. As always, I look forward to your feedback on how they resonated with you if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your monthly forecast. We have your lovely cards for September from your astro clock, and they are the flowers, the star, and the heart. This is a lovely triplet for any context. It is about healing and wish fulfillment and all around happiness. So very general in this sense, can also point to creativity and is very supportive of any context. So they're quite broad in their sense because they are just generally positive cards that suggest happiness, and this can apply in any context. So a lovely start to your month thanks to these cards. Let's set them aside and let's draw your portrait cards, see what else we get about these three and what other messages we have for your month. Okay, Taurus, here is your portrait, and we do have the whip, really interesting, showing up here. The whip is normally a challenging card, and it can bring up challenges, but we also have a lot of congruence with your astro clock cards. We have the star in the middle, which very much aligns with the one in the astro clock triplet, and the star is an all-around wish fulfillment card. So it is possible that there is a release. That's what I suspect because of the generally bright energy here. And that's how the whip could play out in your portrait. We don't only have the star, we also have the clover. This is another very bright card, just like with the flowers. So there's a generally very positive energy here. Now at the top, we have the bear. The bear is a card of strength and power, and it is your cover card. So this is great for feeling empowered in general, for growth, for stepping up to something important for you, and it could be quite exciting. With the star and whip, this is an interesting triplet, obviously, like I said at the outset, Taurus, and it can mean a few things. So for one, maybe you are now empowered to confront a situation, and if you have a situation like this that you need to deal with, Taurus, it is definitely a triplet that encourages you to not shy away from it and to definitely confront it. It's also possible that you are now in a position to let go and release yourself from certain situation or people, probably some relationships, as we're going to see in a couple of lines here. And if you owe it to yourself, Taurus, at this point to draw a line, then definitely do so. At the same time, some other relationships work out really nicely. We have this diagonal and this middle row here. Both of them have this star next to people cards. We have the clover with the star and dog. This is a wonderful relationship, a wonderful connection. And we have the woman with the star and tree. This is another suggestion of a very supportive connection that grows and evolves in a positive sense. So very nice cards here for relationships. Now the bear with the garden and dog is also about relationships. We have the dog, which is a card of friends and colleagues, and we have the garden, which is a card of community. So it seems to me that you are going to step into a certain environment, Taurus, and maybe meet people and connect with others. And out of this environment, there's going to be some good people and maybe others that aren't so good, which is totally fine. Like we saw, the woman with the star and tree is a very supportive relationship that evolves in a positive way. But the bottom row is a card of challenge for a relationship. We have the ring and whip, and this can point to a separation and a disagreement. But what's interesting, Taurus, is that we have the clover earlier. So the clover is a card of luck, and it is usually either a blessing in disguise when it's with challenging cards, or it suggests that you ought to let go of a relationship, that it is the right thing to do. And that's what we saw in the first diagonal, where I suggested that you could be empowered now to make changes because you have more confidence, or you have more options, or you're just feeling more empowered to do what's right for you. So definitely be discerning between the supportive relationships and the not so supportive relationships, Taurus. Focus on the helpful and nice people in your life and let go of those that aren't. We have the bear with the woman and clover. This is another beautiful message for a relationship, and it T-crosses this middle row. So it sounds like you could get the support of someone or be of support to someone and otherwise have a really good connection. Same here. We have the garden, star, and ring, which is great for being involved and engaged in this community. You could also be appreciated. You could be popular. And here we have, on the other hand, a more challenging reading because of the whip. So we have the dog, tree, and whip. And it seems to me that given a bit of time, Taurus, you're going to let go of a relationship. It's also possible that some relationships turn sour. And I'm really suspecting, Taurus, that it's because of your popularity or maybe your success. I'm suspecting that there can be some naysayers or some envious folks or people who are just not good team players, as it were. But don't let these people mess up any picture for you, Taurus, because there are lots of supportive people. There are lots of good relationships and successes here. So the few people who are not on board or not supportive, you can easily let them go. And if you're in a position to make some changes now that you are feeling more empowered or you have an opportunity, then definitely let go of what isn't supportive, Taurus. So very beautiful cards for success and well-being, even potentially popularity, and for wonderful relationships. So focus on all of these good things and let go of what is in the way or what is not supportive, Taurus. Now is the month to clear out the deck in order to enjoy all of this positive stuff. Let me know what you make of these ideas. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your monthly forecast. We are in September and we have your September cards from your astro clock. These are a little bit tricky, Gemini. I think if I've got it right, I've been seeing a little bit these energies in your weeklies as well, if I recall correctly. But what we're seeing here, Gemini, is a questionable relationship. Now, just from these three cards, it's not very dramatic. But what we do see is someone who's a little bit fake, a little bit shallow, and someone who's a bit false to your face. So the type of people who compliment you and don't really mean it and that sort of thing. Now, this could be also to your advantage. So if we flip it, it can mean that it's a good idea to be diplomatic and kind and to not reveal everything that you have in mind. So either way, it's a good time to be careful with some relationships or some involvements and to maintain a generally peaceful facade. And whatever thoughts you might have, it's a good idea to keep at least most of them to yourself. So let's put these cards aside and let's see what else we get about them, if this is about a personal relationship or something else, and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Gemini, here is your portrait. It is looking really bright. We have some really good cards for a relationship, or maybe a few. We have the ring in the middle, which we have in the astro cards. We have the flowers as well, but we don't have the snakes. So it's a good message to tell us that the issues or concerns that you might have from the snake are going to be resolved. So the tree as your cover card, this is at the top. It represents you. It represents being really peaceful and wise and being really centered. So it definitely good advice, Gemini, not to be concerned with anything and to keep your peace and also to remain centered. So don't be distracted or don't be pulled out into anything, just be strong where you stand. And the ring and clover is lovely for a relationship. So yes, the tree supports you in your inner strength, but it's also a card that supports a positive evolution in terms of a relationship or a commitment. You're certainly on the right track, and the clover is lovely all around. The heart with the ring and man is also a lovely message here. The heart can bring in some emotions, a bit like with the flowers, and it does suggest a more loving, a kinder kind of relationship with this person. So very beautiful cards, and clearly the cards are about people, so not just your involvements and commitments, as can be suggested by the ring, but also your relationships with others and with this person. The tree with the stork and man is definitely a relationship picking up. There's some activity, things move forward, you're doing things with this person. The dog with the ring and anchor is very supportive for a relationship, very much about sticking with it and committing to it, and it suggests strength and trust. And also, Gemini, the dog and ring together can suggest a love relationship growing out of a friendship. So this can point to a more personal relationship. The heart with the flowers and clover is lovely. This is great for all around success, healing, optimism, happy things, wish fulfillment. Just a lovely triplet. The tree with the dog and heart is great for friends. And then this T crosses the middle row, which suggests that it's a good idea to give the relationship time and to spend time with the friendship before it goes deeper or it becomes more committed. And this can be where the snake comes in. So I'm not saying that the snake is as challenging and toxic as it can be given all of these positive cards. Instead, the message of the snake could be to take it easy and to allow things to unfold and to not be too pushy or not be pushy at all, actually, and to allow this relationship to unfold. And it looks like it does in a really positive way. Here's another wonderful message, the same ideas. The stork with the ring and flowers can be a renewal in the relationship. So maybe you had been apart from this person, but there's a really good connection now. And it could just generally suggest that there's some positive developments here. The man with the anchor and clover is just another message for a supportive relationship, a strong relationship, a lot of trust here, and a solid connection. So really, Gemini, the focus is on people or a specific person or maybe a few. These are close relationships. They're evolving in a positive way. And the cards really encourage you to enjoy this and to allow for this to unfold. And actually, the snake and tree are the similar energies here, where there's like a more passive energy to allow things to unfold in this relationship. But we're definitely seeing the strength, the trust, the commitment, and the positive vibes all around. And my feeling is that this is more personal and that it involves closer, like more intimate relationships or close friends. But it can also work out really nicely in other contexts where there's a good collaboration, there's trust, and you're able to move forward in your project with this person. So really nice cards for a relationship, Gemini. I certainly hope this materializes for you. Let me know if you resonated with the reading and how it played out for you. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your monthly forecast. We are in September and we have your September cards from your astro clock. These are more or less neutral, Cancer. They point to an important meeting, possibly an important person that you are going to get together with. And the fox can also point to jobs. So maybe this is a manager or there is a focus on certain people in authority. That's possible. But the fox at the same time, Cancer, is a bit of a warning card. It points to people who are a little bit selfish and not particularly honest. So there is a bit of a deception that is possible here, and this is something that you need to be careful of. At the same time, the fox can be like to your advantage and suggest that you want to be calm and calculated and also diplomatic with certain people. Maybe you're getting together with people who have influence, and you have to, put your best foot forward and also maintain that kind of attitude or behavior. So let's put these cards aside and let's see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Let's deal out this portrait. Okay, Cancer, here is your portrait, and it's looking generally positive and also steady and predictable. We do have the snake, which is a bit like the fox, which mirrors this idea of having to be cautious and careful with certain people or with a certain situation. But everything else is quite supportive. It points to something really steady and strong. And in fact, we have these heavier cards like the bear, the house, the anchor, and the tower. And these cards are quite settled and strong. So it's very clear that you are going to stick with the path, or at least it's advice for you not to make changing direction. It's about activity within this path, but really building on what you've done so far and pursuing a steady, responsible, and kind of mature, committed approach to your path. There are other things going on as well, so let's get into these cards. We have the stork as your cover card, and this is normally a card of change, Cancer, but it's not about changing directions. It's about being more active. With the lily and ship, the lily is a card of a long-term life path, and it has that bigger picture that comes into focus. And it is also a card of maturity and wisdom. So it's definitely important, Cancer, that you maintain your responsibilities, that you live up to your responsibilities and the expectations and pursue this path. You are on the right track, and the ship is quite a positive card that brings success and also puts you on that path of productivity. And the two cards here, as well as the road, can be travel cards. So perhaps you are going places. Maybe this has to do with your work or your life, your lifestyle in general. Now, the second diagonal can actually suggest a house move. We have the house with the lily and road, and typically the house and road is a card of changes, or perhaps you're leaving home for some time. And the house and stork is precisely the combination for house moves, as we'll see in a bit. And we have it with the lily. So you could be making changes in your lifestyle, in your living situation. You could be moving altogether. You could also be making changes in other contexts in your life, like it could be a job change or another environment or group in your life that you're making changes in, or possibly even moving away from. So changes are ahead, and they can be some significant changes, but at the same time, there is a commitment to your goals and your values and your priorities in your life. So these aren't changing, but what needs to change in order to support these goals is what we're seeing as changes. And that's certainly how I'm seeing the cards. We've got the stork with the tower and road, and this is moving away from the past. But also it could be an element of growth, because the tower is a bit like the bear. It has that sense of authority. So you could be getting a promotion. You could be leveling up, or it could be about these important people that you're dealing with, Cancer. All of these are possible. But because of the stork as your cover card, I would say that you need to up your game. And this is part of your growth and your commitment to your goals. The snake with the lily and flowers, this is where we get this tricky card. The lily and flowers is normally a very pretty combination. It points to healing and happiness and well-being and also success. But the snake is it changes a little bit the energy of the line and suggests that you want to be cautious and careful. So as you move forward towards your goals, there are some things that you need to be cautious of. I also think, Cancer, that you don't want to jump the gun. We do see change cards and active cards, but it doesn't mean that it has to be rushed or it has to be too quick. You want everything to be steady and focused. And there's a lot of these cards that have to do with that element of predictability and steadiness and responsibility. They are the bear, the lily, the house, the anchor, and the tower. So that's plenty of cards, but you're still on the right track to achieving your goals, as we saw before. Now, the house with the anchor and ship, this is really about finding your foundations and finding your place You could be making changes to your living situation, where you live. You could be moving, or like I said, you could be making changes in other areas of your life. But the goal is really to find that sense of foundation and to build on top of it. And I think that's very much part of your growth and your commitment to your goals, as we saw earlier. Now, the stork with the snake in house, again, this is tricky. It's very close to what we're seeing in the Astro Clock cards because it brings up the location and people cards, which is the garden in this case, and here's the house. The house is a bit more private. It's not exactly the same thing, but they can sort of be similar in the sense that you want to be careful around certain people and also within a certain environment, whether it's the house or the garden. There are some things that you need to be careful of. There can be some things going on behind the scenes. It's also a message, like we said, that you keep certain things to yourself. It looks like you're up for a lot of changes and growth, and you're taking some big steps, it seems. And so I would say, Cancer, that these sorts of things aren't always the type of thing you can share with everyone. So just be discerning about what you share with whom. Now, the Tower with the Lily and Anchor, this is a neutral set of cards, but I see them as really positive because they are really solid. They point to a strong foundation and a lot of predictability. You are on the right track for the long term. You're looking at long-term security, long-term goals, creating a very solid foundation for your life and your situation in general. So these are really great cards, and it sounds like you're already established or you're establishing yourself for the long term. So again, to reiterate, the changes that you make are supposed to feed into this, not the other way around. You don't change your goals for like a short-term situation. No, the short-term or the simpler things need to accommodate your bigger goals and your growth at this time. The road with the flowers and ship is lovely for being back on track with your creativity, your productivity. You could really see the results pay off. And these are also potentially travel cards as well. Maybe you're reuniting with someone, or you're taking a break, or you're celebrating something. And so you might want to take time out or enjoy some good times as well. It sounds like there's a lot to celebrate, even if the cards are a bit heavier and a bit more serious. But there is a sense of well-being and deep fulfillment and a sense of, feeling really secure. So really good for you, Cancer. It sounds like you've really worked on this and it's paying off. And you're having a very focused sense of priority, where you're heading, what you're doing. What you need to do in order to continue supporting your long-term goals. And travel and moves and these changes are also possible. And even though they're potentially big changes, they're still here to fit into this big picture of your life that has to do with your life direction, your stability, possibly your career, and, the bigger headlines of your life. So really nice cards, I would say, Cancer. I hope you see them in sort of the way I see them, if I was hopefully able to communicate my interpretation. Let me know what you make of this. Let me know how you're leveling up, how things are coming together for you, and if you're making some changes like moves and travels. I look forward to your thoughts as always. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Leo. Welcome to your September reading. We have your September cards from your Astro Clock, and these are pretty amazing cards, Leo. We have both the Sun and the Star. They're two very positive cards, and they're all about wish fulfillment, healing, and all sorts of good things happening. The Cross can have a challenging side. It can suggest something heavy or a bit burdensome on you. But with these positive cards, it's a bit different. It suggests things that are meant to be, and these wishes or good things that are materializing could be pretty significant for you. Maybe you're making a decision. It's possible that you have to make some kind of choice, but you're definitely in a position of power and in a positive space to do this, and it looks like you're going to make the right choice for you. So let's put these cards aside, Leo, and let's draw your portrait cards to see what else we get about them and also what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Leo, here is your portrait, and we have a couple, well, more than a couple of challenging cards, but we also have the Sun. And we have the challenging cards on the right-hand side. I really think that what's going on here, especially in light of the cross, is that you are going to break away and separate from someone or something because you can. At this point, it looks like something positive materializes for you, and you're able to move away from someone or something. So the Guardian is your cover card, and it represents your connections or a certain environment that you're part of. And with the Book and Mouse, it's possible that you had been holding off from sharing your thoughts or vocalizing your decision, or maybe you were just gathering information. And it's also likely that you had been feeling a bit stressed or like feeling maybe potentially isolated, like you're feeling like you can't really share, you can't really express within this environment. Now, the dog with the book and letter is the opposite of that. This has to do with sharing the news and communicating. And so it's time for you to step out of your silence, and it's time for you to express yourself and also to do something about the situation that you're in. Now, the Guardian with the scythe and letter is very much about breaking the silence, and it's about the news. It could be sudden, it could be shocking, but it's definitely time for you to express whatever you need to express, Leo, and break away as you need to. This could be something like a resignation, a breakup, moving away from a place, saying you're not going to participate anymore. All sorts of possibilities are on the table. It depends on your specifics, but the dynamic, the essence is very much the same, Leo. There is a need to break open whatever you've been closed off about, and it's also time for you to make a break with others or a certain situation. The Sun with the book and whip is also very much aligned with this, in the same way that we have the book, the scythe and letter, we have the book and whip, and actually all of these are sort of the same. So this breaks open the news. The book is a card of silence, but it's going to be opened, and the Sun here really empowers you with the ability to do this. It is possible that something that you had hopes for turns sour, but you know, your astro clock cards, and especially the cross, which is about a choice and a decision that is not always easy, it aligns with what we're seeing in the portrait cards. The dog with the claws and mouse, this definitely reflects issues that you have with someone or some people. Again, we're seeing here this idea of bottling up and being stuck in your thoughts and things like that. But you need to get past this, Leo, and you need to express what you need to express, and you need to make a change. I also feel like you could feel like these people or this situation doesn't really get it. And so you might, you just have to make a break. If you have to do that, then do that as well, Leo. The Guardian with the Sun and dog is, it would have been a generally very supportive combination if we didn't have these challenging ones, as it suggests some good vibes and a really positive connection here. The left column tends to be associated with earlier phases of a situation or even the past. So maybe things were fine for a while, or maybe you had hopes in it, but it's very clear that it's not lasting, or at this point, at least, it's not aligned, and you need to make a break. The scythe with the book and clouds is very much about speaking your mind, very much about opening this book and bringing out what's on your mind. And the letter with the whip and mouse is, again, this idea of a break off and a separation. So this is going to be key for you, Leo, to release and break off and break away from whatever is holding you back. At this point, you have to make a change, because you need to embrace your healing and your strengths and whatever other good things are coming into your life. Maybe this decision is not easy, but it's necessary, and it is the right time. So this month is looking like the opportunity for you to do this. So do for yourself, Leo. Let go of what isn't working, make a break, move on, and take care of yourself. I also want to add that the cards can apply in different contexts. They are flexible in terms of context. We're not seeing specifically love or romance cards, or specifically work, money cards, or even home family. The dynamic is really about breaking away from a certain environment that at this point you are empowered to do this. So in terms of relationships, it seems like there's a fallout with someone. In terms of work, you could be leaving work. In terms of other involvements, you could be breaking away from them as well. It sounds like you're falling out with the people in that space and also wanting to embrace something more exciting for yourself. So this is definitely an important step and a major step towards your healing and improvements. Leo, I hope you will act on this, and I hope you are feeling empowered to make positive changes. And don't try too hard. I mean, it's time for you to, don't try to make it clear to the other party why you're leaving. My feeling is that you're not all that on the same page for them to get it. So, you have to do your part and then move on. And on another level, it's possible that you just have to draw a line with some people here or a situation and let it go. So let me know what you make of this, Leo. This could be a bit of a handful, but it's aligned with your goals. I certainly hope so anyway. Let me know how this resonated with you. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback as always. Very best of luck with the month, Leo. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your September forecast. We have your September cards from your Astro Clock. And these are pretty bright, mainly thanks to the lovely sun, which is an all-around positive card. We have the Rider and Fox. This can be some progress or some news. The Fox can be a little bit tricky, so it can call for a bit of caution or care as you move forward. But it is also a card of jobs and projects, and it's really good with discipline and getting things done. So it sounds like you could be on the right track and you could get moving and get things done. And there can also be some good news that helps you move forward. So let's put these cards aside and let's draw your portrait cards to see what else we get about them and what other messages we have for your month. Okay, Virgo, here is your portrait, and it's pretty similar in energy and messages to what we're seeing in your Astro Clock cards. We have the sun in both. We have the fox and snake, which are similar, and we have the rider and stork and also the man. So all these cards can mirror each other. So there's a lot of alignment here. Now we have the man in the center of the portrait, and it can be a reference to the rider because this can be a person card as well. And the relationship is in focus. We have the heart as your cover card, which is about feelings and it's positive emotions here. So there can be a really good connection with someone, and your month revolves around this person. So the heart with the man and tree points to an evolving relationship. There are some positive developments. It's in progress, and the tree is a little bit slower and it's next to the snake. So it does work well with the fox and the idea of moving forward calmly and carefully with this person. The house with the man and anchor suggests that you are connected through a certain place or that you are going to meet together. And also it supports this idea of trust and connection. In fact, this could be someone you live with or you spend a lot of time with. But if it's still an evolving relationship, then it makes sense that it is an opportunity to get together with this person. The heart with the fish and anchor is great for money and business in general, and it's great for prosperity. In relationships, it can be great for the physical aspect of a relationship. So any way these cards play out, or any context this relationship figures in, whether it's personal or in your work life, then there are some really great messages here that support your prosperity and your well-being. The sun with the man and snake is very similar to the sun, rider, and fox because these are the same, and these are exactly identical. So we've got a very positive connection here, but the idea is that you move forward carefully and also avoid being pushy, and you don't have to reveal everything about yourself from the get-go. It's also likely, Virgo, that this person is themselves a bit reserved and not moving forward. So they can feel like there are some doubts or issues, or you're not sure, but from the rest of the portrait, it looks pretty promising. The house and stork can actually be the combination of moves, of house moves, and the tree suggests that maybe you land in a new place or you move to a nice place. I don't think this is the main interpretation in terms of what else is going on here, but it can happen as something on the side or in addition. But in the context of the relationship, there are some really good activities here. Things pick up, and like I said, it's likely that you get together with this person. So you could be spending some nice times together and, taking time to get to know each other. The heart with the sun and house is lovely. These are warm energies, and this is a warm space where there's a very close connection and also wishes materializing. Also great for healing and overall well-being, and certainly great for the relationship. The fish with the man and stork is another suggestion of things picking up. Again, the fish could be a work and money card, but it can also be about attraction. So depending on the context for you, it could be either this or the relationship element, or the personal relationship element. But in all cases with the stork, it points to progress and movement. And we saw the bottom row where the stork T crosses it. So lovely messages here and positive developments. The anchor with the snake and tree is a very clear message, Virgo, of taking your time with this and taking it easy, allowing space, allowing things to unfold on their own time. And the snake can be a pretty challenging card, but because of the rest of the messages that are really bright in here, the snake is more about calm and being diplomatic and allowing for that space and not forcing anything at all. It is also about being cautious and not being too vocal. It is a card of silence normally. So again, the idea is to allow things to unfold, to allow for space, and to just enjoy the process of this relationship. So these are really nice cards. They bode really well for a connection. Now, I've interpreted the cards mainly as a personal relationship, but suppose this applies in your work context, for example, while you could get an offer or a job or get some kind of collaboration, and it looks really positive for you, Virgo. But again, you need to maintain a proper distance from the team or the other person, and to avoid revealing things that are not relevant to the project at hand, and also to allow things to unfold. So these are lovely cards that demand just a bit of caution, but things are unfolding in a really nice way. I certainly hope you resonate with this, Virgo. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Libra. Welcome to your September forecast. I've got your September cards from your Astro Clock, and we do have the Whip in here, which is a challenging card. Earlier, we have the Anchor and Lily. And these are cards that are very stable and very grounded. And so when I see the Whip on the other side of these two, I have to wonder, Libra, if you need to shake up a little bit the way you've been doing things. It could be a time for change, and maybe you're going to be forced to make a change, but I think it's a good idea to open up to doing things differently and to making adjustments in your life. And so hopefully there aren't some tough circumstances that force you to do that, but instead you are willing to open your mind to something different. There could also be a bit of turbulence in your life. Things could be shaken up a little bit, but usually these episodes, they come with a message. So hopefully there will be something positive on the other side of it. Let's put these aside. Let's draw your portrait. Let's see what else we get about these three and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Libra, here is your portrait, and it's looking a little bit tricky because of the fox and snake. They're not outward cards like the Whip, but they are tricky, and we do see the need for a change, especially in the right-hand side column here. Now, the Garden is your cover card, and it is a card of community and environments or society, and so it could be a reference to a certain place that you are in. And I think it's going to align with the Anchor and Lily. So your sort of state, your sort of environment, your situation. And it sounds like you're going to have to go beyond this. Now we have the fox and snake with the Garden, and this definitely warns you against certain characters, certain people. There is deception, there's toxicity in this environment, and that's probably what's going to push you to make a change. The snake could be the card that asks you to make a change. I have to say though that the fox and snake are opposite in energy to the Whip. They are both challenging, but the Whip is aggressive and the fox and snake are more quiet and calm, and so they have to do with turning away. The ship with the fox and road is very much about a change and even travel. And with the fox here, it can mean that you are disappointed and just going off in your own direction now. And this would align very much with the fox and snake along with the whip. So we're seeing changes. Now, I have to say also, Libra, that the fox can be a reference to jobs. The garden can be the workplace and the lily can be your career. The ship is another card that can point to business and trade and such activities. So there can be a reference here to your work and your job and your career in general. And in this sense, it looks like there are changes, and I think also things could be a bit reshuffled. Maybe it's difficult, maybe it's a difficult transition, but you're definitely called to make a change, Libra. Now, the garden with the rider and road is very much about moves and changes and going in certain directions. And so again, we're seeing here the need to make changes. You could also be meeting with people or networking. So usually when you are going through these transitions, it helps to connect with others who could help move you to the new situation. The ring with the fox and clover is lovely. This is the brightest combination of your portrait, of your whole reading, because the clover is a very bright card and it's a very lucky card. Now, to be honest, to be fair, the clover can be a little bit unpredictable. So the way things play out could be not the way you were thinking. So just keep an open mind. And I did suggest earlier that, you know, the rigidity of the anchor and the stability of the lily is going to be shaken up a little bit. So just keep an open mind, Libra, for how things can be different moving forward. But still, the ring and fox is great for a job, for an involvement, and the clover certainly supports this. While the fox can be challenging, the clover helps it. So it can bring out the luckier side of things, the clever side of the fox, and also highlight the idea of work or project. So you're in for a new commitment. The ship with the tower and snake is another message for letting go. The tower is a card of the past or some kind of longer phase, and the ship has to do with this journey. The snake is about turning away. So we're seeing another message here that you need to move on from a certain phase and go in a different direction. I have to add, Libra, that both the lily and tower have this idea of longevity in common. So it sounds like the phase or the situation that you're moving on from is of a situation that you'd been in for a long time or for a reasonable, for a longer time. So it's time to move on from this and do things differently. The garden with the ring and ship is lovely. This is great for activity, for involvements. It's great for work, for business. It's great for marketing and doing things in an environment or a market. And this is the line that T crosses the middle row that has the clover. So this is a good encouragement for you to engage in something different and engage in, like to sort of refresh a little bit your path, Libra. The rider with the fox and tower is also supportive. This points to long-term steadiness. So after the shakeups and the changes here, you are going to find yourself on a path that is better and that is probably also more secure, especially after the questionable issues that came up in this situation where you're in. So you're called for changes. And, you know, this T crosses the top row where we saw that you were going to network and meet with others to help you with this transition. You could meet with someone who has some influence, because the tower is a card of authority. And it can represent managers, decision makers, you know, people at the top, people like that. So perhaps you are seeking the support of someone and you're probably going to get it, because we saw these lovely cards here. And then we have the road, clover, and snake. So this is another clear message to let go and move on. Like I said earlier, Libra, the fox and snake are much quieter than the whip. I'm going to say on balance, I would go for a calmer approach. There could be a challenge that you have to deal with, potentially a confrontation. But I would say, you know, once you're past that little stressful feeling and situation, just move on calmly. It's better. It's probably going to be better for your mindset and for, you know, as you turn the page, you know, so moving on on a calmer tone. I think, Libra, this is affecting your work, your practical life, these sorts of areas in your life. And Not so much personal one-on-one relationships, because we have so many cards that support that: the fox, the garden, the lily, and the ship, and also the tower, actually, because the tower is a card of official, formal kind of things. Now, of course, the cards can be stretched to apply in different contexts. And in terms of a relationship, because we have the ring, it sounds like, there's a problem in the relationship, and that you probably move on. I have to say, Libra, that the idea of dishonesty and cheating is possible, because we have the snake, which is the main card of a love triangle and someone cheating. But on top of this, we have the fox and the whip. So these are a bit heavier handed. The whip is challenging, and the fox can reinforce this deceptive aspect of the snake. So I have to say this is possible. Now, who's in the triangle? It could be yourself, it could be another person. But I think there is a change, probably for the better, and it looks like it has to do with you leaving. It is possible that the other person leaves, that's possible, but we're seeing a lot of change cards. On balance, it's possible. Yeah, both scenarios are possible. Libra, you let me know which party you are in this triangle, if this applies, of course. No, there is a chance that the relationship is saved, and the other party, the third party, leaves, because we have these lovely cards here. So that is in the context of personal relationships. But again, it seems to me that this is more about you, your involvement, your life path, where you stand, what you're doing now and over the long term, and some changes that are affecting this. In all cases, let me know, Libra, in what situation this played out for you and what it is you are moving on from. Possibly a bit of a tough transition, but not without some positive outcomes. So focus on making this change, and then you'll be off in a new space, a new situation. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback, as always, if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in, Libra. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your monthly forecast. We've got your September cards from your Astro Clock. They are the Mountain, the Anchor, and Bear. Now, I have to say, Scorpio, these cards are very clearly about having a base in another location, abroad, in a different country, or just farther from where you are. Whether it's the Mountain and Anchor by themselves, or the Mountain and Bear by themselves, the same idea applies. And so when all three of them appear, there is clearly an emphasis on having a foothold abroad, or having some kind of ground or connection in a different location. That is the main thing here. Now, in another sense, the Mountain can sometimes represent an obstacle, and with the Anchor and Bear, you definitely are going to overcome it by strength and by willpower. These are also really good cards for being strong and empowered in general, for having a strong foundation, and also for creating healthy boundaries with others or in certain situations. So let's put these cards aside and let's draw your portrait cards to see what else we get about them and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Scorpio, here is your portrait, and we're not seeing an overlap of cards between the two, but we are seeing some kind of a story that builds. We have the ring in the center, which is about your connections and your relationships. And we have the road and coffin, which is about endings. And they come with the lily and house, which have to do with your living situation and your life in general. So it does align with the idea of you considering a move and a change and going to a different location. And of course, there is the other interpretation of overcoming obstacles. So we're going to put all of this together. Now, the cross as your top card here, it points to some challenge. It's like there's a burden on you to make a decision. And this makes sense because if you're making a big change, like moving or creating a foothold in another location, then this could be a big decision. So with the cross here, you're assessing this, and with the ring and moon, you are looking at the connection, the how you're going to be involved, how you're going to be connected to these places or to that place, and how it's going to affect your life and your lifestyle. The moon is a gentle card, so it softens this a little bit. It can also be a card of offers and invitations. So possibly you are invited to move, or something pulls you into that. location. So that is something you're going to have to assess, I would say, pretty carefully. Now, the house with the ring and heart is lovely for family relations, closer relationships, and warm connections. So this could be part of the equation for you, where you have supportive relationships, either where you are or in that place. And this could be the reason why you need to assess how you get involved in that situation. But they're generally very supportive cards for relationships. Now, the cross with the coffin and heart, this points to a bit more challenging situation, or I would say transition. The coffin is the card of endings, and with the heart, there's an element of absence and yearning and missing something or someone. And with the cross, there is potentially a bit of regret here. And the middle column has the ring with the road. So whether it's the coffin and ring, a coffin and road, or ring and road, there is an element of moving and changing and leaving. So you are letting go from a certain circumstance in order to make a move or to embrace this change. The lily with the ring and book is lovely. This is a combination for an offer, probably a deeper agreement. The lily can make things a bit more professional and official, and the book can have more meat to it than the letter, for example, but they're still both really good at suggesting a contract or some kind of agreement. So it looks like you're working through a proposal, you're working through an invitation or an offer, and that is the reason why you're considering whether you leave, you move, you let go of where you are, embrace other connections, and so on. So it sounds like you are at crossroads, and we have your cross at the top. Now, the house with the road and moon, this is another combination for suggesting a move. It T-crosses the middle row, which goes into the top row. So we have this structure here, and we have the moon on the other side of the road. Like I said, the moon is a kind and gentle card. So it does suggest that you could move on, you could make a change. And while the transition could be a bit difficult and you might miss what you're doing now or where you are now, the moon still has its own positive energy, and so that is going to pull you into a change. The cross with the lily and house, this is very much about evaluating where you're living now, how you're living, your lifestyle, and also where you work and how you work, and all of these questions. The lily is a card of life and life path and career, so it's kind of a bigger card. It's not just the day-to-day. So it sounds like you are assessing your lifestyle, your path in general. Like we saw, the coffin, ring, and road points to an ending and a change here, letting go of connections or commitments or involvements. And the heart with the book and moon is a lovely offer. I think there is a good opportunity moving forward. These are not the most, the loudest of the bright cards like the sun and key and flowers and star, but they're still nice cards that suggest a sense of happiness and fulfillment with the offer at hand. So overall, Scorpio, it's clear that you have an opportunity for a change. Whether this involves a move, a physical move to a different location or not, is flexible, but we're seeing that you have an offer and you're contemplating a change. And it seems to me, Scorpio, that you're going to go for this change. It's not the easiest of decisions, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to go for it. But still do what you need to do and assess everything and your situation. And if you were going through an obstacle with the mountain, it's clear that you overcome it. I think here the obstacle can be, it could be a few things. It could be the transition itself. It could be the challenge that comes with making the decision. And I think these are the two main ones that capture the potential obstacles of the mountain. But you also want to look at being open to change and being open to doing things differently, and also at prioritizing your goals and protecting your path. Now, in terms of a personal relationship, because I have to say that it is possible that there is a personal relationship at hand, the reading can take on a slightly different interpretation. What comes to me when I am looking at this reading in terms of a relationship is that the person could be in a different location, or like you're apart. And so you could be contemplating a move, or at least an adjustment, in order to make the relationship closer, more, so that you're closer to each other. So again, we could be contemplating a move, an ending from where you are, but also tying into, this lovely relationship moving forward. I have to say also that the ring with the book in relationships can point to a proposal, possibly a marriage proposal, or, a proposal at that level. And the lily can certainly elevate that, because the lily is a card of the long term, and it points to committed relationships. So essentially people who grow old together, that sort of thing. So when we see these cards in terms of a relationship, it could be a more serious turn here, and therefore the need to assess carefully and how it moves forward. Still, I think it's gonna go well, and you could embrace this change. So nice cards. They're a bit heavy, like they're serious. They involve bigger decisions in your life, but it's still in alignment with your goals. Let me know what you make of them, Scorpio. I look forward to your thoughts and feedback as always. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your September forecast. We have your September cards from your astro clock, and these are the bird, the fox, and the star. Now, the bird and fox can be a little bit challenging. They can suggest some anxiety or nervousness, but the star is a lovely card. It is all around happiness and wish fulfillment. And so something certainly materializes and is overcome if we were looking at a challenge. Now, the fox is sometimes a card of jobs, so it's not just about being deceptive or someone like that, but it can be a work card. It's great with discipline and getting things done. So you could be on a roll and moving forward with your projects and doing well on the job. The bird is also a card of conversations, so it can bring up some productive communications or conversations with someone. And I have to say that the fox is a bit the opposite, because the fox is quiet, whereas the bird is vocal. So this could either be a balance, or it can mean that you need to vocalize something instead of being silent about it, and it brings out some really positive outcomes. So there's a few possibilities here, but certainly the star brings out some very positive outcomes, hopefully. Let's put these cards aside, and let's draw your portrait cards to see what is in store for you this month. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your portrait, and it's looking generally positive. It's on the neutral side, but we do have the tree in the middle, which is a lovely card for well-being, healing, a sense of peace, and it's also a card of strength and wisdom. So it's really nice to see it in the center. We have the house and woman, and the garden and rider. These are all good cards for getting together with someone, communicating with them, which aligns with the bird in the astro clock cards. And we have the fox in both. So let's see how these cards come together. The road as your cover card is about movement and change. You could also be at a juncture where you need to make some choices. But I think with the tree and woman, it's more about being open to the relationship and being sort of passive about it. So being easygoing and enjoying a connection. And certainly the tree brings a positive connection here. The garden with the tree and fox is sort of similar, because the garden and tree are very much about a relaxing atmosphere and an easy situation where you're sort of just, relaxing into it. It's a good time for taking time out and for enjoying that sense of peace. Now, the fox here can mean a few things. It can mean that you need to be a bit more focused on yourself. The fox can be a selfish card, but with a positive card and a wise card like the tree, it's not so much about being selfish. It's more about being self-interested in an enlightened way. So we could be looking at that, a time for you to prioritize yourself and enjoy your progress and your well-being. And it is also a card of work, like we mentioned in the astro clock cards. So there could be some positive developments at work. And there's definitely a suggestion here, Sagittarius, to take it easy and to just, focus on your work and to, let things go. The road with the letter and fox is great for a job application or a job offer. The letter T crosses the middle column, where we have the tree and rider, which are really good for progress and growth and pursuing goals. And so there can be some really positive developments in terms of your work. And this works out really nicely with the astro clock card. So we're seeing some really very positive alignment here. Now, the anchor with the tree and house are very much about having a strong foundation. Each of these cards is solid and grounded and really stable. I think you are in a situation where you can grow. It's important for you to create predictability and a sense of stability and consistency. Allow things to grow and change on their own terms or on their own course, and also create some good structure here around what you're doing. So this could be on the job or in your life in general. The garden with the rider and house are very much about meeting with someone. This could be a visitor or, getting together with this person. So it's a neutral combination, but it does seem to support your progress in general. So when we tie the top row through the middle column into the bottom row, it's clear that this invitation here materializes into a meeting, and it sounds like you are able to get together with this person and move forward. Similar here, the road, anchor, and garden, definitely going to meet with this person, but also in a bigger kind of way, it can mean that you move and land into a positive situation here, and that's probably the space out of which you're going to grow and establish yourself. The fox with the house and woman is another suggestion for meeting this person. We have the person card, like we saw in the bottom row, and we have the location cards, the garden and house. The fox can be about a job. So perhaps you land a job, or you're working with this person, or you're collaborating with them, or maybe they're your customer, or some other kind of, they have some kind of other role in your life. And the fox, like we said earlier, can be a bit more cautious. So here asking for calm and diplomacy and a sense of ease. Certainly with the tree, it brings about this element of peace. So overall, Sagittarius, these are calm and supportive cards. There are some very positive energies. It looks like something is materializing. It's materializing in a sort of a orderly way, and things are progressing in a positive way. You are going to find yourself in a solid and stable situation. A person seems to be critical or has an important role in this situation. So make the time for this person in order to help yourself move forward. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on your goals. Focus on your sense of foundation and stability. And I think everything needs to fit into that, Sagittarius. Great for work, great for relationships, great for establishing yourself. And there is also some good news here. So a few things could be happening. Let me know how all of this plays out for you, Sagittarius. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to your September forecast. We've got your September cards from your Astro Clock, and they're quite sharp. We have the snake and scythe and the scythe and bird. So these two combinations are pretty sharp because of the scythe in the middle, and they certainly point to either a break or a separation or maybe a difficult conversation. It can also point to something shocking and possibly, Capricorn, a bit of a painful episode, maybe something hurtful. Now, it's possible that you're the one who does this, that you're the one who needs to vocalize something and break away from something or someone, and it's time to be sharp about it. But certainly the scythe in the middle here between the snake and bird suggests an announcement of a separation, and probably one that materializes. So let's put these cards aside and let's draw your portrait cards to see what else we get about them and what other insights we have for your month. Okay, Capricorn, here is your portrait, and it has very different cards from the Astro Clock cards, except for the stork, which aligns with an element of change, and we see it at the bottom right, which is like a gathering spot for everything happening. But it is looking bright. There is some good news. There is news that supports positive outcomes or steps forward with your money and your finances and your life in general. So it sounds like after a disappointment, you're able to reshuffle things a little bit and move forward in a more steady way. We have the lily in the middle, and the lily affects your life and your living situation or your lifestyle and also your career in like a bigger sense. So the changes and the adjustments could be happening on a bigger scale for you. At the top here, we have the moon, which is your cover card, and the moon is a gentle card. It is a card of well-being, and it has a sense of passivity that attracts the good. And it is also a card of offers. And when we see it with the lily and stork, there can be some progress or an invitation or some kind of positive movement, especially in the context of work, but not necessarily. It can be in other areas as well. The fox with the lily and fish is also very much focused on work and money and business, or the practical side of your life, Capricorn. And we see here that you've got a job or a career that is more lucrative. You're working on the disciplines that are going to bring in more money or create more security for you. The lily is the card of a card of the longer term. So it can bring up pensions and long-term planning through the discipline. And also it's about jobs and business and career. So the cards seem to be focused on your work and some progress in this regard. The moon with the woman and fish can mean someone who supports you financially, or perhaps she's a customer or a collaborator. But we're definitely looking at an invitation or some kind of collaboration that is supportive. Because the woman is close to the moon, there is like a gentle connection. The mountain with the lily and letter is great for again, this kind of invitation or the news or communication that seems to be more official, more formal, that affects your life and your work. And the mountain can suggest that there were obstacles, or perhaps it's a place abroad. So you're in touch with people abroad, or you're overcoming obstacles, and it looks like there is news and communication and paperwork that is helping you move forward. So you definitely want to work on these things this month. The fox with the ship and stork, these are also good cards. They're great for progress. They're great for getting things into motion. It looks like you're working, you're going through the steps, and things are moving forward. They're also great cards for jobs, for projects, and for being engaged. So it's looking pretty busy. And it's very clear, Capricorn, that the challenges that we saw here, or the disappointments, are going to translate or move on into something more stable and more predictable. So that's a really positive turnaround. Now, the moon with the mountain and fox can mean working abroad, working online, and also working through some obstacles. And the way you want to do this is with calm and caution and being careful, and also diplomatic with the right people or parties involved. The woman with the lily and ship, here's another message of progress. It sounds like you've got someone professional or someone reliable who can help you move forward. And these three lines, they're all connecting and they're all moving forward positively, and they can even be really good for you financially. The fish card with the letter and stork is definitely some green light or some news that moves things forward with regards to your money and finances, or some other practical area in your life. So these are really nice cards, especially compared to the Astro Clock cards, Capricorn. They really point to stability, a sense of predictability, discipline, a good job, good income, and progress, and also the support of someone. So really there's a lot of good cards here, even though they appear to be neutral. But when you put them all together, they're bringing prosperity, progress, support, like all sorts of good things when it comes to your work, your money, your business, or at least the practical areas of your life. This is the balance of the cards. They're really heading in that direction. You could also get a job offer. You could get a business deal. You could get a collaboration. You could get some positive feedback with regards to any of these areas. The woman suggests a relationship, yes, of course, but I'm not seeing that it's so much a personal or love relationships in this regard. It seems a lot more focused on the practical side of life for you this month. I have to add that travel is possible. We have the mountain, the ship, and the stork, and these are all potentially travel cards. So maybe you're putting together paperwork for a place abroad, or maybe you're traveling. All of these are possible. So these are really nice cards and a very positive turnaround in the face of the Astro Clock cards. I want to add that you want to release anything that is in the way of your stability and this strong, solid situation that we're seeing in your portrait. You have to let go. You have to make changes. Let go of negativity, let go of disappointments, turn the page and move on into this lovely, strong, solid situation. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Capricorn. I certainly look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your September forecast. We have your September cards from your Astro Clock, the Woman, Coffin, and Man. So this is as clear as it gets with Lenormand Aquarius. We have a separation between two people, whoever they may be, or they could be apart. So without necessarily a break off, they could be apart. Now, in terms of your personal reading, you could be either one of these people taking a step back from a relationship. That is possible. And it could also be advice for you to separate, at least temporarily. So the cards are pretty neutral. The Coffin is not necessarily negative. It tends to have a negative energy, but it's not always dramatic or difficult. So let's put these cards aside and let's draw your portrait, see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Aquarius, here is your portrait and it's looking quite bright in general. We do have a similar message about this distance thing, separation thing, which is the Mountain right in the middle. The Mountain is a card of distance because it tends to be associated with places abroad and places that are far away, but also it is a colder card. So when it comes to relationships, it's not really warm. It tends to suggest, some kind of distance, like literal, but also emotional. So it aligns really well with the Astro Clock cards. We also have the Mouse as your cover card and the Road on the other side of the Mountain. So there is a very clear message here of a separation and being apart. The Mouse can mean that you're the one who took a distance, but it doesn't end because the rest of the cards and actually all the other lines, they suggest a turning around and a connection with this person. So in the second diagonal here, we have the Lily, Mountain, and Heart. And this can mean that there's a life abroad or a connection abroad, or that you could consider creating some kind of situation abroad in order to get closer with this person. But of course, it's not necessarily physical distance. It could be that emotional distance. The Heart here can mean a few things. It can mean that you miss this person and you want them and they feel the same way. And it can also mean that you overcome this distance, this emotional or physical distance, or both. The Mouse with the Star and Heart is very telling because we've got the Mouse before the Star, and the Star is a healing card. It's also a much more powerful card than the Mouse. The Mouse is a little bit challenging. It's not a big deal. So, all of the Mountain, Mouse, and the other potentially challenging combinations, they're not very dramatic combinations, but the Star is a very powerfully positive card. And we see it with the Heart, which tells us that you're going to overcome any feelings that are negative, any doubts, any of these issues. The Anchor with the Mountain and Dog, this pair here, the Mountain and Anchor, clearly suggests that there's a physical location. It tends to be more about a physical location and someone who is anchored abroad. And it is this friend here, this person. So again, we're seeing the possibility that the separation or the distance is actually physical. At the same time, it doesn't have to be. And then we've got the Dog on the other side here, which points to that relationship. This is a neutral line, but when we look at the T-cross with the Heart, Dog, and Road, this is supportive for the relationship. This is a friendship more than a love relationship, so it could be at that level, or it could remain at that level for the time being. But we certainly see that you're moving forward with it, as we saw earlier in a few lines already. So there was distance, physical or otherwise. There were doubts, but you're going to overcome them. The lily with the woman and road can mean a move. So here's another combination that could suggest a physical change. You could be moving your life to another location. You could be making changes to your life. You could also be pursuing certain objectives, because the lily is a card of life path and career. And with the road, you could be making certain decisions about where you go next. And that's not necessarily physical. The mouse with the anchor and lily, again, overcoming any of these doubts. The anchor is very good for confidence and something solid, and also trust. It can sometimes be restrictive, but in the context here, it sounds like it's telling you that it's imparting the idea of security more than anything else. And with the lily, it sounds like it's going to be stable over the longer term. So again, these issues with the mouse and coffin and the mountain, they seem to be temporary, and they don't seem to be very dramatic. The star with the mountain and woman, again, suggesting a place abroad, or this woman who's away. And it T crosses the bottom row where we saw there is this move and changes. And the star is, like we said, a very bright card. It's an all-around wish fulfillment card. So we definitely see the potential here of closing the gap and being with this person. And it is a good and supportive relationship. And as we saw here, the focus is on a friendship more than anything else. Maybe that is an annoying part for you. If you are pursuing a love relationship, the cards are stabilizing at the level of the friendship for the time being. And I think that makes sense, because you're still overcoming that gap. So maybe take it in steps, right? That makes sense. Now, I've read the cards in terms of a personal relationship, but they can apply in other contexts as well. You could be looking at a work relationship where maybe you were trying to get a job or get an opportunity or a collaboration or something, and it's been taking time, person's not responding and things like that, but you overcome them and you're able to take advantage of this. And the cards can affect your life in a broader way. Maybe you're looking at where to live and how to set up and how to make adjustments to your lifestyle, and this can involve other people as well. So the specific context is flexible, but certainly people are in the picture, Aquarius, and the idea of overcoming any issues or distance with this person. This is resolved and you can move forward. In parallel, though, it seems to affect your life in a bigger way. Your sense of foundation, where you establish yourself, how you pursue the goals in the next phase, and things like that. And remember that you have the star in your card. So this is very much about wish fulfillment and happiness and things materializing. So focus on this relationship, Aquarius, and focus on your sense of foundation relative to this relationship and in other areas of your life. And if you're considering a move or something like that, then that's definitely the time to explore the options. Let me know what you make of these ideas. I'm very interested in your feedback. As always, I look forward to your thoughts. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Pisces. Welcome to your September forecast. We have your September cards from your Astro Clock, the book, the lily, and the bear. I have to say, Pisces, these are really great cards for a career in writing or teaching, and also becoming specialized and more expert in a field. Of course, it's a bit more of a specific interpretation, but it can apply to some of you. Otherwise, the lily is a card of career. The book is sometimes about the unknown, but it also has to do with learning and writing, and by extension, creativity. Now, these are not the more creative cards, but we'll see in the portrait cards. And then we've got the bear, and the bear and lily, I have to say, can sometimes be an element of something legal. And so with the book, you could be researching into something formal. Broadly speaking, these cards are great for growth and becoming more refined and more expert. So you could be looking, Pisces, at improving your status and becoming more polished. You could also be looking at improving your career or going for some kind of promotion. The bear can also represent a manager, and with the lily, of course, it can represent someone older. So the book can mean that you meet someone who has these traits. So a few possibilities here, and any one or all of them can apply. Let's put them aside and let's draw your portrait cards to see what else we get about these three and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Pisces, here is your portrait. We have a couple of challenging cards. Well, three actually, the clouds, the whip, and the snake. But we also have some pretty bright cards, especially the key at the bottom right, which is like the gathering spot. So this is really nice to see. We have the fish in the middle. The fish is a card of money and finances, and perhaps you've been having some struggles financially, but you also are in for solutions, and this could be what you're looking to improve and to level up on. As your cover card, we have the man. So this can represent you, or it can represent an important relationship with someone. With the fish and key, you could get some really positive support with finances. You could get a really good deal, a good customer. It could be an employer, or it could be someone who advises or supports with finances. The fish and key are really good with money. So that is a really nice message. The stork with the fish and cross can point to some changes that you make with your finances. You could make some sacrifices because of the cross, but you could also be in for some important changes because the cross suggests something significant. It looks like you need to make some decisions and you want to take these seriously. And the man could be someone who supports you with these decisions. At the same time, you are in for changes that appear to be significant. The man with the flowers and cross, this is a lovely message. This is someone supportive, someone who is generous, I think, as well. And the cross can mean that they support you with these changes or these decisions. And the flowers does help lighten up the burden a little bit. So this is where we see the key in the first diagonal working well with the second diagonal. The clouds with the fish and snake can bring up the challenges. So it's pretty clear, Pisces, that you had probably been going through some financial challenges and you need to consult with this person or get some support, and also maybe do some research and, get more serious about certain things in order to improve the situation. The stork with the whip and key suggests some positive changes and a positive resolution to some problems. The stork and whip is definitely some difficulty or a disagreement or a problem that comes up. And with the key, we see solutions. So this builds nicely on the previous line. And I also think, Pisces, you might need to make take a more aggressive approach to shake out anything that's in the way of the health of your finances. And again, it's really nice to see the key because you are in for solutions. Now, the man with the clouds and stork is about these challenges, and also it's like there are some the confusing part through the clouds, this situation that's a bit cloudy and stressful. It sounds like this man helps you overcome them, mainly because of the effect he has in other lines. If it weren't because of these positive lines, I could have suggested, Pisces, that this is someone who gives you a headache. And there can be different people at play here. That's also possible. It T-crosses the middle row, which we saw has these challenges around the finances. Maybe this is also someone you spend on, or, they offer you services and maybe you're finding their service to be expensive. So maybe there needs to be an adjustment here. Now, the flowers with the fish and whip, I really think here you have to cut back on certain expenses. The flowers can be about shopping, buying, and, enjoying these things. But with the whip, it's pretty clear, Pisces, that you need to cut back and you need to make certain sacrifices and decisions, which is what we saw in the second diagonal. And then with the cross, snake, and key, this is bright because it brings answers, and you're going to make maybe some tough choices, Pisces, but they certainly have a positive outcome. So do what you need to do, sacrifice where you need to, and work on your priorities so that you have a clear picture so that you can resolve these financial issues. And also, if you can tap into the support of someone, like we saw with someone like an expert or this man here, then do so. And in another sense, Pisces, the fish could be not just about money strictly, but also about work and business. And it sounds like you've been having some struggles here, maybe struggles making more income or struggles with your work and business, but you have solutions at hand. So at least they're going to start appearing within the month. You have a relationship here that you can get their support for this. You can also enhance your profile and your knowledge and dig into certain areas. And you could make, of course, adjustments and changes that help you move forward. And it could be about a job offer, for example. This would work really well with the book. It could be this man who makes an offer. There could be a difficult transition here. Maybe you don't get it from the get-go, or maybe some offers fall through and then others come through, or another one comes through. So we could also be looking at this. I think the focus is on your work, your business, these practical things, and not so much a personal relationship, Pisces. And I think this is how this whole fish situation with the challenging cards plays out. But in terms of a personal relationship, the clouds with the whip and snake and personal relationships, they tend to be a bit more dramatic. They're a bit more difficult, and they could suggest that there's a fall through. Now, these cards are really peaceful in contrast with these. So they give you a sense of strength, but also, I think, a sense of maturity to move past relationships that aren't up to par, that aren't up to your level. And it could be a bit of a cleanup, as it were. But again, my feeling, Pisces, and based on the cards, the focus for you is more practical, financial, and business related. There are some struggles, but you're not without solutions. You have to make some choices and possibly some sacrifices, but once you make these adjustments, you're going to be on a better track. And you could also get an offer. So getting an offer, getting a job, or improving your status as a whole can very much be part of what helps you solve these financial issues. So let me know what you make of these ideas, Pisces. I look forward to your thoughts as always. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.